What's going on, guys and girls? Apparently I have a lot of women watching this. I got some calls last night and some messages and stuff. So apparently there's a lot of women watching this. So hello, ladies, as well. So I have a lot on my mind right now, and I'm driving in somewhat traffic, and so we're going to see where this video goes. I wanted to shoot this because what I was thinking about, I was just driving around in some neighborhoods in Easton, Connecticut. I drive like 400 miles a week, sometimes more. Well, we're out of traffic now. This works. So I used to drive for Domino's, a pizza company, way back in the day. And my life used to consist of waking up in the morning, whenever the hell I woke up. I was dating a girl at the time. We would hang out or do whatever. And I was just hanging out with friends and just kind of like past days. I didn't really have any goals back then. I knew I still wanted good things in life, but I didn't really know where I wanted to go. And looking back, I guess you'd say I was lost. I had a bit of a rough some rough family situations at the time. And so I'm driving through these streets, leaving a client's house just now. And I was kind of just marveling at how far I've come and what I've gone through between the years of I think I was driving for Domino's at 18, and now I'm 30 now. And I was looking back, and it reminded me of a call I got from an ex-girlfriend a few weeks ago who was feeling really down. And I actually stay in touch with a lot of my exes and, whatever, because we don't typically end things badly. She called me up. She was having a really tough time. She was very depressed. She was actually very suicidal, unfortunately. Or at least she told me a month ago she was suicidal, and she was just calling me up for advice about life. And she felt like she had nothing going on. She's 34 years old, and she's not happy with her life. She doesn't like her job, and she feels stuck. She's fresh out of another relationship, and she's in a new one, and she doesn't quite know if this guy is good. And I think a lot of what happens, especially with women, because they get hit on so often in society, is they kind of just jump from one relationship to another, and they don't really. I think a lot of times it probably happens with men too. But if you don't take the time to really get to know yourself and know who you are and be single and be comfortable with being single, I think a lot of your personal growth gets stunted, because then you kind of take on the personality and you take on who the other person is, and you almost mold yourself to fit their criteria without you necessarily knowing who you are or your sense of self. And I think that leads to a lot of midlife crises and things about those natures. But where I'm tying this back to is she was calling me up for advice about life because she wants to quit her job, but she's gone so far with it, and she's about to get a promotion and all that. But, I tried to point out to her, I'm like, well, you're miserable now. And if you take that promotion, it's still in a field that you don't particularly like. So you're going to be stuck in this field continuing, and you're just going to put on more responsibility for yourself, way more responsibility actually, with a slight hike in pay, and you're going to be able to be miserable more, So I was like, does that really work out? And she's like, no, but I mean, I have absolutely nothing. She's like, I don't have any money saved up. I don't have, she doesn't exactly know where she wants to go. She's got a few things she would like to do. But her issue, and the key point that I want to get at, is that she said that she has absolutely nothing. And that is the lie that we tell ourselves. So the focus of this video, and why I brought up driving for Domino's, is in between the years of 18 and 30. I have done everything from own a business to be homeless to run sales operations for different types of companies, to be unemployed but working out of a garage, to having not enough money to even pay for heat in the house, to to, well, basically dying. I had a night where I crashed into a car and flew over it on a motorcycle and just landed and was just gone. There's a lot of stuff that's gone on, right, in the past bunch of years. I've risen and fallen a few times, right? So where I'm going with this, and I know this is pretty disjointed, but there's a lot of thoughts coming together, is that there was a few days in particular where I reached out to my best friend, whose name's George, and I've reached out to him a few times throughout the years, and there was one particular day where I was extremely down. This was when I literally did not have nothing to show physically, nothing to show for basically my life. And believe it or not, this was about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. I had lost my business. I had totally gone under with the business that I had spent the accumulation of about 6 years building. I had lost my house, my home. There's a video on this channel. I think it's called How Fucked I Am, or like how bad my situation, or like something like that. It goes way back. I'm wearing like a teal shirt in it. I ended up losing that house that I was renting from, but I ended up getting evicted essentially from there. Losing the business, had absolutely no money, driving around without insurance. Actually, no, my vehicles didn't even work. Just kidding. I wasn't driving anywhere. And I was living on a porch at the time. That was like the best that I could find at the time. And my friend came by, or we were talking on the phone, and I told him, I was like, for all of the effort that I put into my life, for all of the sacrifices, the 27-hour days, because I used to own a business, and sometimes, I'd be there for 20 plus hours. My longest day ever was 27 hours that I was in the business working. I was like, for everything that I've done, I have absolutely nothing to show for it at all. I have nothing to show for it. I have no money. I have no girl. I have no assets. I'm in debt. Like, I don't know. At that time, I think I was in debt, I don't know, 40,000 something or other. I was like, my health's a mess. I can't even, walk some days. I've got all this stuff to try to like heal from, and I'm not even functioning. Like at that time, I always go through this tunnel when I'm filming these videos. This is the Merritt Parkway. So at that time, like, I had a lot of stuff going on, and what bugged me so much is that, for anybody looking in from the outside, you would think that I was just a loser. I had absolutely nothing to show for it. I was skinny. I didn't even have money really for food at that time. Like, I literally was very down and out. And I'm making light of this. Like, I'm just giving you bullet points. It was really bad. It was a really bad time in my life, to say the least. And I'm saying all this because my best friend pointed something out to me. And he said, Josh, he's like, what you do have? You have what most people don't. He goes, you have experience. And he told me, with that experience and what I know how to do, he told me that he had no doubt in his mind when I got on my feet, I would be perfectly fine. Now, at those times, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be fucking great, I was in such a depression at those times. I couldn't see the light. I couldn't see the way out. I knew what I wanted. I knew where I wanted to get to, but my mirror of the world was not reflecting that whatsoever. And I will never forget, like I said, he told me, but you have your experience. So let's fast forward a little bit. In the last 2.5, 3 years, I've now got a condo of which I'm living in. I can pretty much buy anything that I want right now. I could stop working for the next 2 years and survive off the money of which I have. I made over 200 grand last year. I don't know what I'm on par to make this year yet. I haven't done the calculations, but it looks pretty good. I'm all right with it. I've gone through an entire stock trading course, whereas I'm investing the money of which I'm making. I am traveling to California to go meet with a mentor of mine out there, to have him mentor me for 3 days. I'm just staying out there for 5. Let's see. I've paid off pretty much all of my debt. I can pay off the rest. It's just I'm using that money to invest right now, so it actually doesn't make sense for me to pay it off right now because I'm making more off investing it than just paying it off. My health is turning around significantly, especially in the last few months. I rose to a pretty prestigious position in a previous solar company that I was working at. At this new company that I'm at, I'm doing quite well. In fact, in the last 2 days, I made more than I have made in any year of business. Any year that I was in business, I made more in the last literally 2 days, because 2 larger accounts closed, than I made any year busting my fucking ass and doing everything I could just to scrape by. I'm going to have to cut this video short because I'm getting to my next appointment. But where I'm getting at with this is that, oh yeah, and I'm going to the gym all the time, and I've got a social life, and I'm out and about, and I work like crazy, but I also have fun like crazy. I've got stunt videos coming out. I built a studio downstairs, and we're doing filming episodes and such, which I know still are not out on this channel, but I promise you they are coming. Anyways, it's like a running joke now that I'm actually going to release this shit. So where I'm trying to get at, that's in the last 2.5, 3 years. And I am not an overnight success. Nobody is an overnight success unless you win the lottery, which your odds of that are really low. My point being, it was my experience and all of the hardships that I had gone through in my lifetime, especially in my 20s. It was my experiences and my hardships and my difficulties that got me to basically sit my ass in a catapult and just launch forward and turn everything around in my life and rise from the depths of a fucking hell that I was living in. And I'm putting this out there because, like I said, I got a call from my ex, and she was just asking me, she's just miserable, and I just told her, I said, but you're not realizing you have experience. You've got this repertoire of abilities and skill sets and stuff that you've learned over your lifetime, and you may go on hardships for a while. She may have to take some assistance. She may have to, reach out to help from friends and stuff like that. She may have to do a lot of stuff like that. But the point is that the thing that doesn't leave her is her experience. And the fact that she's got those experiences with her, dude, she's not starting from ground zero. She doesn't have nothing. Despite that my circumstances looked like I had absolutely nothing going back not that long ago. And it's becoming exponential for me, because as more things come together and I'm able to just grow more and more. I mean, I didn't think I'd be able to fly out to California just on a fucking whim and let's meet with this guy and get mentored by him. There's a lot of stuff that's becoming exponential in my life, which is very, very, very exciting. And I tried to explain to her, where I was and where I came from, and I went way more in detail because she used to date me. She knows how bad shit was. There's certain things I'm not necessarily prepared to share with you on the channel, but like, if you feel like you're starting at ground zero or you're starting over, even if it's in like a relationship, like you just broke up with somebody and you are like, now I got to start over with somebody else. You're not starting over. You're starting over with new skills, new ideas about communication, new ways of knowing how to hold together a relationship, new stuff to look towards and to watch out for if the other person is, pulling some shit. You know more to put your foot down. You know more of what you're worth. You know more of what you're looking for. You're not starting at ground zero. And I think that, like, that is a major thing to understand, that any time where you feel like you're like down and out, or like you've lost everything, you know, you are not starting at ground zero. You are nowhere near ground zero, even if the mirror reflection of what's on the outside in your physical environment looks like you're just screwed. That's not where you are. So I just want to make this for you and just put out there that no matter where you're at, you have experiences in life that you can call upon, and you're not starting with nothing. And I think that that's important to drill into your head and realize just how far you've come, even if it's just on a mental basis, because you can't see it when you look in the mirror, or, you know, when you look at your circumstances. But if you keep believing in yourself and you keep pushing, you know, for things and trying to make yourself who you want to be, I mean, you will get there. And I am living proof of this. I'm fucking living proof that you can turn your life around. And, you know, I'll keep making these videos for you. There's I hope that came up on the camera. There's a guy trying to do like a burnout, but it's wet over here in his Beamer, and he almost hit that other car. Anyways, this is my life. Love you guys. Hope all is going well with you. If you like the video, leave a like and share it with somebody who needs to realize that they're not starting at ground zero and they have a lot to offer the world. Talk to you next time.